We start the night with breaking news relating to last May's primary. A document obtained exclusively by WOAY lays out a complaint that alleges that Derek Evans, a candidate who ran for the House of Representatives in West Virginia's Southern District. Now, before we can dive into the complaint, we first need to turn to the background. The core argument of this complaint centers on Derek Evans' conviction and subsequent sentencing back in 2022. Evans pleaded guilty to a felony count of civil disorder following his behavior at the United States Capitol building on January 6, 2021. He was sentenced to 3 months in prison, 36 months of supervised release, and restitution for damage to the Capitol and fines. The complaint focuses on the supervised release portion of that sentence. Because Evans is still on supervised release, the complaint alleges that he is not allowed to be a registered Republican. It cites West Virginia State Code, Chapter 3, Article 2, Section 2B, which states that any person convicted of a felony is ineligible to register or be registered to vote while serving their sentence, which it defines as, quote, any period of incarceration, probation, or parole related thereto, end quote. Then, West Virginia State Code Chapter 3, Article 5, Section 7 requires that candidates must include the political party that they are registered to vote with. When Evans filed to run, he entered the Republican primary as a registered Republican voter. The complaint argues that this is a violation. However, additional West Virginia election regulations and law makes the matter less clear. By law, the West Virginia Secretary of State's office cannot comment specifically on election law complaints. However, the office says that it has long held the position that supervised release does not disqualify a person from voting, unlike probation and parole. That's backed up by state law, which does not explicitly say that people serving supervised release are disqualified from voting. The law only explicitly states that those currently incarcerated or on probation or parole are barred from voting. That distinction is a big deal, given that the complaint claims that Evans is ineligible based on his supervised release. Further, the Secretary of State has jurisdiction over election complaint investigations. If it does find fault, it would refer it to the local prosecutor and not the Attorney General's office. It is important to note that this is different than previous complaints that allege that Evans was ineligible to run based on his specific felony charge. Those complaints argued that because Evans was convicted of civil disorder in connection to riots at the Capitol, he was ineligible to run based on the 14th Amendment, which bans people convicted of treason or insurrection from holding federal office. The Secretary of State's office previously told media that Evans was not convicted of insurrection or treason and could run for office. The outcome of this new complaint is unknown and will be unknown for some time. However, we again want to note that the Secretary of State's office holds the position that serving supervised release does not disqualify you from being registered to vote. Derek Evans has responded to our request for a statement on this story. He says, quote, the people of West Virginia, not any government bureaucrat, and certainly not any TV station, should decide who represents our state in Charleston or D.C., end quote. We are continuing to track this story and will bring you an update when we get new information. We do know that Evans has filed paperwork to run for Senate in 2026 as a Republican, potentially against incumbent Senator Shelley Moore Capito. We will keep you updated.